Hey, Wixman Ray here. Another day of our daily weather updates. I was just thinking at this very moment, I haven't done one of those around the weather, uh, you know, around the world weather tours in a while. Um, I've gotten kind of busy and forgot about it. So maybe I can do that this weekend or something, or maybe do one tomorrow when I have some time. I actually have Friday off. Pretty cool. All right. So we still got a fairly active pattern, especially across the south where there's some thunderstorms going on, and you got a good rainstorm going on across the northeast and some showery activity across parts of the northern Rockies. All right. So looking at our infrared satellite, since it's getting to be late, it's 10 to 9, so 8:50 here in the central time zone. Almost 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and then out west it's 6:50 p.m. So it's evening, getting to be night out east. So that's what time it is. Today is what are we on? Wednesday, right? Wednesday, May or April 29th, 2026. We're almost into May. Can you believe that? And with that, it seems like May is kind of coolish for many of us. Although by May 1st, we'll start seeing a little bit of a warm up, especially apart across like the Central Plains and the Midwest, especially as we go through the weekend. So, anyways, but we won't really go over the temperatures. I'll probably mention them maybe once or twice. But all right, so across the West, I'll show you the upper level pattern in a minute. But basically, we got this broad trough, and you can kind of see that how it's outlined, the way the clouds go like this, and then across the middle part of the country, and then back up across the northeast. So, and we got a wave of energy kicking off showers across the west, northern Rockies, and back through the Great Basin and Nevada. Looks like a little wave up in southern Canada moving towards the Dakotas. Another little wave out over South Dakota and Nebraska. We got a more vigorous, stronger wave. This is with the main like low, that bowling ball low I was showing you over the last couple days. This is bringing a lot of clouds up across the Great Lakes, and like Wisconsin, and a little bit of rain activity, I believe. And then here's that frontal system that has moved now into the northeast with some rain going on. Farther south across parts of the mid-Atlantic here, there's a couple of thunderstorms. I think one or two severe warnings were out when I looked. And then that front kind of goes down and through, Georgia and through the south, just, you know, not too far from the Gulf Coast. And we got a lot of rain and thunderstorms going on. You can see by these red and darker colored clouds that are popping up. These are all thunderstorms. There's a couple severe storms. I think the most of them are in Texas, but there's a couple I think in Louisiana, maybe in Mississippi. But we'll take a look at our radar. Um, Back west, this is mostly high cloud moving into the desert southwest. Ahead of this low pressure system. That's a pretty vigorous low that's coming out of the Pacific there, and that's going to bring a good amount of rain to southern Arizona, parts of New Mexico, and into Texas, and that'll spread across the south um, through the weekend. So, all right, and I'll show you that as we go along. So yeah, pretty active pattern with numerous waves, and in this, we still got the split flow pattern with this northern. There's kind of a northern jet up here across the northern half of the U.S., and then a subtropical jet across the southern United States. So, yeah, so that's what a split flow pattern is, and that's what it looks like on satellite. All right, so we'll go to our, yeah, we'll start down here in the south, and that's where it's real active. So we got the front. It looks like the front's, I'm just going to kind of look at this. So the front's gone through San Antonio, so it's through south and gone down into South Texas, and just north of Houston and across southern Louisiana and kind of right along the Gulf Coast here. in this general area. Um, so back in Texas, we got a couple, mostly isolated to scattered storms, so a couple discrete cells. So we got some severe warnings, no tornado warnings. We got one out here, kind of north of Del Rio, Texas. Um, that is where Laughlin Air Force Base is for the people, military people, Air Force people. Couple out here in kind of heading towards East Texas, and let's see if we can find a town that those are by. This one's severe. Got a severe warning, Corsicana. So it's moving towards Palestine, Texas. So severe warning with that. Another severe warning down here, south east or southwest of Crockett, Houston County, Texas. So looks like it's, yeah, Lufkin's over here. So it's kind of, let's see if there's any major. Yeah, it's pretty far to the east of, was that I-35 that goes through here down through into Austin from Dallas, Fort Worth. So yeah, it's out there in that part of Texas. So we got a few thunderstorms across East Texas there. And then a few out in Louisiana. Nothing severe right now. There's some pretty strong storms, but with some heavy rain in there, embedded in there. Same thing across the Mississippi, southern Mississippi. We got a lot of rain, some heavier downpours with some thunderstorms mixed in. Nothing severe. Same thing in southern Alabama. Got quite a bit of rain, some heavy rain in spots, and some thunder. And then there looks like a line of thunder. This might actually be where the front is. This might be a prefrontal thing. But we get some thunderstorms up near Birmingham. Nothing severe, but pretty good storms going through there. And don't really see anything across Florida today. And then this is there's kind of nothing in between, but then along the front up here, there's a couple isolated, discrete cells across North Carolina and Southern Virginia. A couple severe thunderstorm warnings out, but luckily no tornadoes. And then as you get farther north, it's mostly rain as you get up towards the Northern Virginia, even back into West Virginia and parts of Ohio. There's a few showers, but gets a pretty good band of rain up north from DC northward towards Philadelphia and New York City and up into parts of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and the eastern half of New York's pretty wet. Raining in Syracuse, even got some rain in western New York, kind of trailing behind. So kind of a wet, cool day, some 40s and 50s back here. Even all the way down to DC, it's in the 50s. So kind of a cool, not so nice evening there. A little bit cooler back across Maine and parts of the rest of the Northeast where the rain hasn't quite gotten there. It's in the 40s. Looks like a little misty fog at Boston and down up near Bangor, Maine. So yeah. And then behind that wave we were showing you, the main low that's up in Canada, we're seeing a few little rain showers, and it's kind of chilly-ish. It's in the mid to upper 30s across the UP and northern Minnesota, and then some 40s across Michigan and Wisconsin. So it's definitely chilly up there for the end of April, but that's probably not super unusual up there yet. I mean, we're not quite into summer yet, but couple more weeks here, we'll be into mid to late May, and that's when maybe we'll start finally warming up. A few showers out here in Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota with that one wave I showed you. Some light rain. Looks like some rain coming out of eastern Colorado into the Rockies. Probably some high mountain snows there. Looking at the temperatures in the lower elevations are 40s and 50s, so I'm sure they're getting some snow up on the passes along I-70 and other places there in Colorado. A little rain coming into Kansas, and that's a sign of what's going to kind of come out into Missouri in this part. It's going to get wetter as we head into tomorrow, especially tomorrow afternoon and evening across this area that I showed you. So still a few showers across the west, really nothing too significant. Some of it may not even be hitting the ground. Dew points are, so-so. They're in the 20s and 30s, but You know, the temperatures are kind of coolish too, 50s and a couple 60s out there in Nevada. Pretty warm. Look at that. That's like a top 10 day in Seattle. I got 60s and it's what, 7 o'clock at night out there. 71 in Portland. Beautiful. 73 in Medford. Look at that. In the along the Central Valley, it's close to 80. Beautiful weather. Cooler along the coast. They're still, man, it's pretty gusty. Gusting up to about 30, 35 miles an hour off the ocean at San Francisco. A little windy there, 60 degrees, but some 80s down here in Phoenix. Not too bad in Las Vegas, 79. So, you know, that's still pretty good weather out there in Vegas. And even for Phoenix, not that bad. I mean, could be 100 already. Look at this. Nice in New Mexico. It's dry and got a, 70s and 80 in El Paso, 60, a little bit cooler on the eastern side. You get some of that cool winds from that front that's kind of pressed into West Texas and eastern New Mexico. Looks like a few showers out there south, kind of south of El Paso, southeast of them. Yeah, so yeah, that's what's going on right now. Yeah, and like I said, we had all them clouds up over here, but there's really no precip until you get back into Texas, where the front, and that's basically because of the frontal system moving out there. So, all right, so then we'll look at our 500 millibar pattern at roughly 18,000 feet above the sea level. Like I showed you, man, we got a broad trough across. I mean, it starts across Canada and goes all the way across most of the West, um, and dips down and through the Rockies and down through the Central Plains, and then kind of comes back up across the Northeast. And we got several waves. We got looks like one or two pieces of energy out over the Rockies here into the Great Basin back here. Another wave here. This one's going to be a little bit stronger wave coming out of Canada. This is that main low. And you got all this energy that's causing the clouds and rain back up in here in the Great Lakes. And then here's the one that's supporting the front. You got this energy. And then, yeah, so a lot of waves of, we call them short waves, energy basically in the atmosphere causing clouds and rain. This is going to be our big one right back here off the coast of kind of southwest of California right now. Going to head towards the Baja, northern Mexico, and then track across the south as we go through the weekend. And you can see there's a little wave here across the south where we see those thunderstorms. A lot of energy coming up from that subtropical jet. So that's why, and we got the front there. So that's why we're seeing those thunderstorms and all that rain down there. A lot of moisture, a lot of instability, and a little bit of upper level support too. All right, so let's head on through. So as we go through tomorrow afternoon, so you can kind of see this energy kind of shifts a little bit. It's still over the Rockies. We've got a couple pieces of energy back here. See this one by Thursday, it's already moving in across the Baja and moving towards northern Mexico here. So that's going to already start bringing some precip to probably parts of New Mexico and southern Arizona, maybe even parts of West Texas there. Still got all that energy across the south, so we'll still see some thunderstorms probably back here. We got this wave coming across the northern plains, and that's what's going to cause all this rain. And then you got this little piece of energy. So that's what's going to cause those clouds and rains out in this general part. Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri, even into Illinois as we head in tomorrow. So it's going to be kind of a rainy day, maybe slightly cooler than it was today. There's that main low up there, and I think that's Ontario up there, that Ontario province in Canada. But we got this main shortwave, and then we got this other one, and that's with that front that's slowly moving. So the Northeast is still going to be unsettled through tomorrow. It's going to be wet all through here for at least another day. So you're going to see rain, probably some thunderstorms maybe on the southern end still, but most of the thunderstorms will be down here. So, okay, so as we head in to, so this is going into Friday afternoon. So yeah, you see another wave of energy coming down across you know, the northern plains and to the Great Lakes. So that may cause a little more rain and the clouds as we head through the day on Wednesday, Friday. We'll have to see what the models are painting. A lot of it'll probably be at least cloudy out through this area from Illinois to Ohio and Pennsylvania and all the way through the Northeast. Probably some areas of rain through here, rain showers. Looks unsettled. You know, we got this low pressure and yeah, and then what you see here is this high that's developed here. So I didn't really mention that, but that developed on Thursday across the west, and then it kind of moves across the northern Rockies. So, and then you see this out here, and this is kind of coming into Saturday. So we're going to start seeing some clouds and some precip moving along into the west here on Saturday. Um, I kind of skip forward. So yeah, watch this piece of energy here. Let me get rid of that. Sorry. So this is the main deal here. So, and then this is that. So here's that energy across the south. See how that goes across the southwest and into Texas? That's going to cause a lot of showers and thunderstorms across the deep south and across Texas and the southwest. And then you see this stuff up here. So let's watch this. See this little wave here? So that's going to bring another little shot of cool air this weekend across up in especially the Great Lakes in the Northeast. And that's going to help to, um, that's going to bring, you know, some energy across the east here. So we'll probably see some rain and thunderstorms. And that'll kind of push that front out and out to sea into the Atlantic, through Florida and down into the Gulf. This area may be kind of weakening the front back here, but we probably see some thunderstorms probably on Saturday and Sunday across Florida. You see that energy? That's really not going to cause, that might cause some clouds down here, but no precip indicated. And this is late Sunday. So maybe down in Florida. And then look at this. We got another low pressure coming into California and Nevada. So more rain coming in. And a little, you know, slightly cooler weather will come with that. And that'll go into Monday. So look at that. Yeah, another bowling ball low coming in through the west coast there. So just a temporary you know, reprieve out here for a day or two across the west, and then they get more rain and more cool weather. So but yeah, it looks pretty nice over the weekend out here until this stuff comes in across the west. It'll be in the 70s. Friday and Saturday should look pretty nice. So yeah. All right. And then you see this, like this low kind of shifts out, and then the pattern kind of, you know, decides to do something a little different. But we aren't going to go too far into it. I'll show you. But it's kind of going into a similar pattern where we're just going to see waves coming out of Canada and kind of rotating around at least the eastern half of the U.S. So that still might bring some shots of colder air as we go into the first week of May. So, yep, that's your upper level forecast. Let's look at our surface, the mean sea level pressure, which helps us find our fronts, our cold fronts, our warm fronts, our stationary fronts, our occluded fronts, our high pressures, like you see there, and our low pressures up here, one there. So, okay, that's a few days out. So we'll go back to what's going on around now. So, yeah, so you see that low, it's moving out of the, looks like it was down across Pennsylvania, New York, and now it's moving up into Canada. So we're kind of keeping the rain back here and the thunderstorms back here and that precip we saw out in eastern Colorado and moving into Kansas and Nebraska. And you know, some spotty stuff here and spotty stuff there with a couple waves and some stuff up in the Rockies with the waves there. So as we go into here, let's go up so we can see what it is through tomorrow. Yeah, see that low just slowly, it kind of does, it just slowly moves north. So it's still going to be unsettled all across there. And like I said, back through this area, showery. Here's that wave I told you about back here. It'll bring some rain to this whole area, like I was talking about. Still got some stuff going across the Rockies. And then here's what you're seeing. You're starting to see the beginnings across New Mexico and Arizona, southern New Mexico, with that system coming in. So it looks like this wave of stuff will kind of push east. It won't be as active tomorrow. There'll be some isolated, to scatter stuff along the Gulf Coast and back into Texas and Louisiana. Some isolated showers and thunderstorms and rain. So, yeah, but that's going to increase. So here's this system kicking away. And as we go into Friday, so that whole thing moves out into the Pennsylvania, Ohio, into, so back here, unsettled. There's still a little bit of rain across the Northeast, not as bad. That low front finally pulls out on Friday by the afternoon. And then there's that other piece of energy I told you about. So Iowa, Missouri, Kansas City again. I'll probably see some rain into Kansas, even up into Wisconsin. So kind of keeping it coolish as we go into the beginning of the weekend. And then here we go. See all that stuff? Get quite a bit of precip across parts of New Mexico, and then Texas is going to get quite a bit of rain. That'll cool it off across Texas, and probably some thunderstorms too. We're kind of seeing a front just kind of stationary across the south here and all the way through across the Gulf Coast on Friday. Look at that, and it trucks there east. And this wave here that's kicking this stuff up across the north, that's what's kind of pushing this whole front. So we see a low develop along the front, especially out here off the coast of the Carolinas as we head into Saturday. So that's going to bring the showers and thunderstorms across the southeast. Yeah, it looks like it's going to pull out to sea and kind of spare. The east will see some showers behind it, but not. So they'll stay unsettled, on Saturday up there. And then we see this surface high pressure developing. So it's going to get nice across. Whoops, sorry. What did I do? I hit the wrong button. Sorry about that. So you see, after this pulls out on Saturday and Sunday, it's going to leave this whole area, the southern plains, into the southeast. Nice. Got a high pressure behind it. Probably real nice weather as you head into the end of the weekend. Even out for the desert southwest and parts of the Rockies. So. And then you see this. We got a little frontal system with the low pressure forming. That was with that wave, and they'll bring a little bit of rain across the north here to the Great Lakes and northern plains as we head through Sunday. And then you see the effects of that rain coming into California and Nevada. Looks like even some other showers, so it'll be a little unstable here across parts of the west. So. But quieting down quite a bit. You can see that rain across South Florida, those thunderstorms. You see that it kind of goes across Florida for Saturday and Sunday. It looks like it lasts into Monday. So, yeah. So, last but not least, I'll show you the convective outlook. So, we saw a few of those severe storms. So, they got a slight risk out across Texas and Louisiana and parts of the Gulf Coast through the rest of tonight. Nothing too crazy out there. I think the tornado threat's pretty low. Yeah, they got it pretty low. Wind, and looks like the hell's the best threat, especially across Texas. A little bit of a wind threat. So, yeah. And as we head through the next couple days, just marginal risk down there across parts of Texas on Friday. And then Saturday, they got a couple areas along the Gulf Coast and into Texas there along that front with that wave moving across. So maybe some isolated, I think the biggest risk will just be maybe a little bit of hail or wind on Friday and Saturday in those areas. So, yeah, and I think as we go into Sunday, that there might be a little threat across maybe down through the, panhandle of Florida, southern Georgia, maybe extending down towards New Orleans area, maybe on Sunday as that front unless that front's already through New Orleans. I didn't really look real closely at the timing of that, but there could be a threat there as that front kind of pushes out to sea and south into Florida, but really kind of worst case would be marginal. So, all right. I appreciate you all for subscribing, for viewing, for watching us and supporting us. So, hey, help us to gain some traction and maybe we can get those algorithms on YouTube to get us to take off a little bit here. So, but hey, I don't really care if that happens or not. It would be great. It would help me to maybe retire and stop working these part-time jobs I have to do. So, anyways, hey, I appreciate you all. And you all have a great what beginning? Oh, not quite the weekend yet. Tomorrow's Thursday, but yeah, almost the end of the week. So, hey, have a great evening. Wixman Ray out.